through its partial stage, inching towards totality there. So if you're wondering about the UTC time, there's also time right below here that you can compare to, so you know what time it is. And we're looking at a telescope image here that's quite overexposed. That's to show those prominences that are coming out on the left. And what exactly are prominences?
Yeah, we're seeing some beautiful prominences, as you say there, Anna, on the left-hand side of the sun in the main image. Um, when we look at those smaller suns on the right-hand side of the screen, it's easy to imagine that the sun is just calmly sitting in the sky, but the sun is just an incredibly active place. The sun is a big ball of plasma, a plasma being one of the fundamental states of matter. We know about solids and liquids and gases. If you heat up a solid, you get a liquid. If you heat up a liquid, you get a gas. If you heat up a gas, you get a plasma, a charged gas where electrons are ripped away from atoms and you have these charged particles moving around. This creates all kinds of magnetic fields, and this is what creates all this activity that we see on the sun, like the sunspots we can see in the small pictures on the right-hand side, and like these enormous structures that we're seeing in the main image, these prominences. These are huge jets of plasma that are being thrown up from the surface of the sun by the intense magnetic fields that the sun is creating. And yes, we can see some beautiful examples of these on the left-hand side of the main image.
So we're looking at prominences, but we're also looking at a solar eclipse. And I can explain a little bit what a total solar eclipse is. So you've got the sun, the moon, and the earth lining up. So the moon comes in between earth and the sun and blocks out the sun's rays. So when you're standing on earth and looking up, you can see exactly what we're seeing here, the moon eating its way into the sun's disk. And during partial eclipse, you can see it. We're not seeing it move really fast. It's kind of slow, but as we get to totality, it moves really, really quickly. And only a few things in astronomy happen that quickly, so we're going to be busy at that point, enjoying all the different stages of totality. So don't blink, you'll miss it, and stay here so you can see it.
That's right. Keep with us as we inch our way towards totality when the sun will be completely covered.
Okay. Welcome back. Pirate Blood, cool. Okay, welcome Pirate Blood to our live stream basically. And today is a hybrid solar eclipse, as you all know. So we are going to stream that one. This live footage is from time and date, as where I stay. I can't see the solar eclipse, so I am enjoying the stream, and therefore I am streaming also. So let me give a brief intro about it. And if Pirate Blood, are you watching the stream? Is this eclipse viewable from your location? If yes, then do comment below. A hybrid solar eclipse will occur on Thursday, April 20, 2023. A hybrid solar eclipse will occur on Thursday, April 20, 2023. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between Earth and the sun. Means whenever a solar eclipse happens, the moon will be passing between Earth and sun, thereby totality or partiality obscuring the image of the sun for a viewer on Earth. A total solar eclipse occurs when the moon's apparent diameter is larger than the sun's, blocking all direct sunlight, turning day into darkness. A hybrid solar eclipse is a rare type of solar eclipse that changes its appearance as the moon's shadow moves across the Earth's surface. Totality occurs in a narrow path across the surface of the earth when the partial solar eclipse visible over surrounding region thousands of kilometers wide. Hybrid solar eclipses are extremely rare with only 3.1% of solar eclipse in the 21st century. So let's take some technical details about this eclipse. Basically, the solar eclipse of 2023 April 20, this means the nature of this eclipse will be hybrid, and the gamma will be minus 0.3952 and the magnitude will be 1.0132. The maximum eclipse will be visible for 76 seconds, which is 1 minute and 16 seconds, which is close to 1 minute and 16 seconds. Basically, the greatest eclipse will be visible at 4 hours 17 minutes and 56 seconds according to UTC, Universal Coordinated Time. You can see these images are from Perth Observatory, Western Australia. At 204 UTC, the partial eclipse has begun. At 3:29 UTC, the totality will begin, and at 5:02 UTC, partiality will end. This is basically a 4-hour eclipse. You can see it. The current time is 2:18 UTC, which is visible on your right hand side in the screen. Maximum width of band will be 49 kilometers, which is also known as 30 miles. Totality for this eclipse will be visible in the Northwest Cape Peninsula and Barrow Island in Western Australia, eastern parts of East Timor, as well as Damara Island and parts of province of Papua in Indonesia. It is a eclipse with portions of its path near sunrise and sunset as annular. Anyways, so I am just opening the YouTube studio to see some algorithms of this eclipse, means this live stream. Anyways, actually, I had taken a leave in my work, you can say, so I am on that. Okay, some people are joining and leaving the stream. I don't know why, but okay, it's okay. Anyways, uh, if if you guys want to talk with me, then you can just comment below in live chat. So basically, here I am trying to edit, and I am trying to use hashtags and all, because if there is more public, then what I can do something else also. I'm just adding a hashtag hybrid eclipse. Yes, hybrid solar eclipse. And yes, guess what, I have done it. Basically, some people are here again. Okay, pirate blood, old message, cool, fine. I'll share this live streams link in my discord also. If some people are interested, then they can come here, over here. And basically, this is a view from Western Australia on your screens now, because and basically this and basically this week will be also an you can say that a tight week for me, because as you can see, today is Thursday, and we have the eclipse, the hybrid eclipse, and after that on Saturday, nearly about 22 April, one day later, I will be having the launch of PSLV C55 from Satish Dhawan Space Center. That is why this is an you can say a tight means you can say a tight schedule for me, a tight week for me. Anyways, I am just editing some details over here. Yeah. I am sharing this live link on our.
It's from the Northwest Cape in Western Australia. We're about 1 hour away from totality, just over 1 hour. We're looking at some gorgeous images here of the moon eating its way over the sun. Just want to remind everyone that telescopes, they flip the images, so we've got the moon eating away from one side here on our main image from MIT NASA's Eclipse expedition, but from the other two images, the sun's coming from where the moon is coming from, the left position. So we're all looking at the same sun, same moon, but it's just the telescope flipping the images around. And like I said, we've got these awesome images coming in from the MIT and NASA expedition, and we had a chat earlier with Dr. Michael Pearson because he's on site in Exmouth and he's studying the solar corona, and he explained a few things about the corona, didn't he?
Yeah, so Dr. Michael Persson is one of the scientists who is looking into something known as the coronal heating problem. Later on in this eclipse, when we get to totality, we will see the solar corona appear. This is the outer atmosphere of the sun, which is always there surrounding the sun. It's just that we can never see it until the sun is eclipsed by the moon, and then it comes into view. And there has always been a great mystery surrounding the solar corona, because the sun, all of the energy production takes place in nuclear fusion reactions in the center of the sun. Then as you move outwards towards the sun's outer disk, towards the surface of the sun, the temperature goes down, as you would expect. But then as we continue to move away from the center of the sun, away from the sun's surface into the solar corona, the temperature goes back up again, which is counterintuitive. It doesn't really seem to make any sense. Now we think that this is all to do with the sun's magnetic field, but we don't really understand the detail of how this heating happens. So Dr. Parsons' team is looking into finding the mechanism by which the solar corona is heated, and which makes it a lot hotter than the actual surface of the sun.
And we've already talked about these sunspots and how the surface of the sun is more negatively that affected.
Yes, so all of these features we see around the sun, things like sunspots, prominences, they're all really driven by the sun's plasma, these charged particles that make up the sun, and these magnetic fields. And yes, we've zoomed in here on some of these features on the surface of the sun, and we can see those two sunspots on the left there. These are the same sunspots that we can see in the smaller images on the right of the screen there. So yes, sunspots also caused by the sun's magnetic fields. These are areas that are slightly cooler than the surrounding areas. So when we look at them on the screen here, they appear a little bit darker because the temperature is slightly cooler.
I like Matt's explanation about the sun's kind of tearing apart, it cooling down in there. So they look like just dust or dirt on the lens, and how big are they? They look, I don't know, it's difficult to assess.
That's the thing. It's easy to lose perspective because when we see them here, these sunspots really do look like just tiny dots. But what we have to remember is that the sun is absolutely enormous. So these sunspots that we're looking at, they are also much bigger than we realize. In fact, what we can do is we can bring a little size comparison to really show just how big these sunspots are. What we're going to do is we're going to briefly bring up a graphic showing the sun, and just as a comparison, next to the sun we have got an image of the Earth to scale, showing the size of the sun and the size of the Earth to scale. And we can compare the size of these sunspots to the size of should give us an idea of just how big these sunspots are. So let's bring up the size comparison, and there it is. There is the sun's disk, and that is the size of the Earth to the same scale. So now if we go back to these sunspots, we can see that they are as big or bigger than the Earth. In other words, they are enormous.
And also you can see how it's zoomed in image of the sun, that it's lightening more and darker towards the edges. What does that mean?
Right, this is an interesting effect here. This is the limb darkening effect, where essentially when we look to the center of the sun, we're looking down deeper into the middle of the sun, whereas when we're looking to the edge of the sun, we're not looking so deeply into the sun. This means that the center of the sun appears brighter, and around the edge of the sun it's appearing darker, a phenomenon known as limb darkening.
So remember to check out timeanddate.live. We're going to be back soon on timeanddate.live. News feed, we've got updates, we've got background info about the eclipse, we've got behind the scene images of people setting up the eclipse. It's also a bit of a special eclipse. It's actually a hybrid eclipse. So we're going to be talking a little bit about why this eclipse is called a hybrid eclipse. And we'll talk more about that when we come back. See you soon.
So as you guys can see, it's nearly about 2:34 hours UTC, and the first image, which is brighter image on your screens, is from the Exmouth, Western Australia. And at the right hand side, the first image, which is shown in nearly about you can say a light image, you can also say is from again Western Australia, and second one below that is also from Western Australia. And image on your screens, which is right now, is also in Exmouth, Western Australia, I think so. The footage is from MIT NASA Eclipse expedition. Finally, I have just polled in the live chat. Just do participate in the poll and just tell me which eclipse is your favorite one. Anyways, the totality, we are nearly about an hour back of the totality, because you can see the totality will begin at nearly about 3:29 hours UTC, and we are nearly about 2:35 hours UTC. The actual time of is, my English is not very good. It is nearly about you can say a little bit bad, but guys, thank you for managing basically my English. So basically we were talking about some eclipses which are happening. Basically the Tozel Kinex, there is a name known as Tozel Kinex. This eclipse was preceded by solar eclipse of March 8 and 9 in 2016, and followed by the same eclipse will be followed by on June 1, 2030. So you can just take a look on this eclipse. After nearly about more than 10 years, the eclipse will be repeated, known as Tozel Kinex eclipse. And if we look at half Saros cycle eclipse, this eclipse was preceded by lunar eclipse of April 15, 2014, and followed by the 25th April 2032. This eclipse will again repeat. So basically this was a lunar eclipse. So let's move on. Again we have Tritios eclipse. This is basically a solar eclipse of May 2021 2012, which was preceded and followed by the solar eclipse of March 20 2034. And then if you look at solar Saros 125, the eclipse was preceded on April 8 2005 and followed by the same eclipse on April 30 2041. So you can have a look, basically more than 10 years, 10 to 20 years gap, you can see, you can get here. So that's in not miss, basically that's in good gap, but for the viewers like me and like you cannot wait for this huge gap. So that is why I watch the stream and stream live. And then again we have Inex eclipse, which was preceded on May 10 1994, which was a solar eclipse, and again it will be followed by solar eclipse of March 30 on 2052. You can see 1994, more than 20 to 30 years gap between these both eclipse. And if we look at the triad eclipse, this is also known as a solar eclipse. The triad eclipse was preceded by June 19 1936. Okay, this triad eclipse was preceded by June 19 1936 and followed by a solar eclipse of February 18 19 in 2110. So you can see more than 100 years of gap we have. Okay, in this series of triad eclipse. If you look at the eclipses of 2023, then here we have a hybrid eclipse which is happening now on April 20. Then we have a penumbral lunar eclipse on May 5. From my location, I will be streaming that eclipse too on my YouTube channel. You can go and just check it out. And then we have an annular solar eclipse on October 14. That eclipse will be get streamed on my YouTube channel. And again we have a partial lunar eclipse on October 20, which will be a last eclipse of this year, you can say. And then the next year will start, means you can say that after that there is no eclipse in this year. There are total 4 eclipses, and in the next upcoming year in 2023, I guess there are 5 eclipses. So be ready, next year we have 5 eclipses. So let's move again forward. Basically this eclipse is a member of a semester series. An eclipse in a semester series of solar eclipse repeats approximately every 177 days 4 hours a semester at alternating nodes of the moon's orbit. Means this eclipse, which is also known as hybrid solar eclipse, this hybrid solar eclipse is a member of a semester series. An eclipse in a semester series of solar eclipse repeats approximately every 177 days and 4 hours a semester at the alternating nodes of the moon's orbit. And then if we look again, we have some details of the eclipses. Let's see, basically see, first of all we have some future eclipses too and some past eclipses too. On the 30 April 2022, there was an eclipse known as partial solar eclipse, which had a gamma of minus 1.19008, and Saros was nearly about 119 while ascending node. And then again we have a next eclipse on April 20 2023, which is an hybrid eclipse, hybrid solar eclipse. Basically the Saros for this eclipse is 129 and the gamma is minus 0.39515 in a ascending node. After that we have a next eclipse in April 8 2024, which will be a total solar eclipse The Saros will be 139 and the gamma will be 0.34314. Again, we have a total, not a total, but basically partial solar eclipse on 29th March 2025. The Saros will be 145 and the gamma will be 1.04053. This eclipses or this series of sets between 2022 to 2025 were in ascending node. Now let's move to descending node. Basically on 25th of October 2022, the we faced in partial solar eclipse. The gamma was nearly about 1.07014. Basically this eclipse was viewable from all over the Asia, I think so. And then we will face again a solar eclipse from it will be an annular solar eclipse, and basically we will face this eclipse on 14 October 2023. Gamma will be 0.37534 and Saros will be 134. And again there is a solar eclipse on 2 October 2024. That will be an annular solar eclipse. Saros will be 144 and gamma will be minus 0.35087. This will be also an annular eclipse. Again we have 21 September 2025. That will be an again partial eclipse, and Saros will be 154 and gamma will be minus 1.06509. Basically this all details I have shared can be also viewable from the Wikipedia page. And nearly about we have the 3 concurrent viewers watching live. If you guys have some questions regarding this eclipse or any other questions, you can ask in the live chat, and you guys also can talk to me, and I am just talking with you. Anyways, actually it's type of boring stream, like when the viewers don't talk to you and you are only talking. So do message below. So anyways, I am enjoying this eclipse. Basically this the image which you're watching, Arjun, will it be visible in India? No, it will be not visible in India because the orbital planes are not such that it will be visible from India. Because I think so moon will be below horizon in India, which is happening now. If you look in India, the sun has already rised and the moon is below the horizon, I think. In India I am talking about. So now on the center you can see the Western Australia, from where the image is coming. Perth Observatory is sharing the eclipse image. Arjun, okay. Arjun, are you from my server? Or I think yes, you came from my server, I guess. If yes, then do type yes. And okay, 100% have rated total solar eclipse. What a guess, really? Okay, one vote only. Sorry for that. But yeah, mine is hybrid solar eclipse. I'm also voting it. I can't vote. I can't vote, man. I was trying to vote, but I can't vote. Anyways, let's move on to Saros 129. Now I'm going to explain what is Saros 129. Okay, it is a part of Saros cycle 129. Means basically, Saros is a cycle, or you can say it's type of cycle. Okay, it is a part of Saros cycle 129, and every Saros has means there are many types of cycle and their numbers are also different. It is a part of Saros cycle 129, repeating every 18 years 11 days, containing 80 events. This series started with partial solar eclipse on October 3, 100 and 103, means 1103. Okay, basically this series started with partial solar eclipse on October 3, 1103, at means nearly about one, I think so. Messages from my okay. So this actually the series means this series known as Saros 129 was started long back, nearly about 800 to 900 years ago, on October 3 with a partial solar eclipse at 1103 years. It contains annular eclipses on May 6, 1464 through March 18, 1969. Hybrid eclipses from March 29, 1987 through April 20, 2023, and total eclipses from April 30, 2041 through July 26, 2185, means 2185. The series ends at member 80 as a partial eclipse on February 21, 2528. The longest duration of the totality was 3 minutes 43 seconds on June 25, 21 means 2131. All eclipse in this series occurs at the moon's ascending node. Ascending means it is just ascending. So basically here I have some details about the eclipses which I have talked before. So we have series of members from 46 to 56 occurs between 1901 to 2100. There is an eclipse from on February 14, 1945, which will be again visible from Indonesia, Australia and all other that part. Again we have February 24, 1933. This eclipse was visible from Chile. I think so. It's Africa. So yeah, this was the 47th member. And again, if you look at the 48th member, this eclipse was visible on March 7, 1951. And if you look at 49th member, this member was visible from March 18, 1969. Then we have 50th member, which was visible on March 29, 1987. And again the 51st member was visible on April 8, 2005. 52nd member was visible from April 20, 2023, which is currently happening. And this eclipse basically is means you can say this eclipse is visible from again Australia and all that part. And then 53rd member is from April 30, 2041. 54th member is on May 11, 2059. The 55th member is on May 22, 2077. 56th member is on June 2, 2095. So here I was sharing some details about this eclipse. And then we have INEX series. Basically I have many more series to talk about, but you guys just tell me in the comment section which series you love or which series you know already. Means did you know that, means did you had any idea that the solar eclipse also has n number of series? If you had an idea, then to comment below. If not, then also to comment below. So I am just having a look on my Discord server as well. Okay, Annie is back. Let's move to Annie.
Solar eclipse here on timeanddate.com, and we're watching some gorgeous images there from our mobile observatory, Time and Date and Perth Observatory in Exmouth, Western Australia. We've got a couple of other smaller feeds there on the side. We've got MIT feed there on the top and another one from our mobile observatory. There's a lot of Exmouths going on today on our screen. We're closing in on totality. You can follow the progress on our timeline there. So we're about, looking at a UTC time, about 50 minutes away from totality there. And we have to mention that we're very grateful for all the news groups, media outlets, and other groups that are redistributing our content today. We've had a lot of emails and Zoom calls and conversations before the event of everyone that want to see this eclipse, because pretty much only seen from this little peninsula in Australia. So we're lucky to have images from there. We also want to include a thank you to our friends at Astronomers Without Borders. It is Global Astronomy Month in April, and we're part of it with this live stream here. So we're really getting into the deep part of the partial stage at the moment, and it's looking gorgeous. So, you know, we've got the moon's shadow here. Where is it? And how big is it? Because it's looking fairly spectacular at the moment, Graham.
Yeah, as you say, we're really getting into it now.
Mm.
Those sunspots that we were looking at earlier,
Gone.
Anna, have gone. They've been eaten away by the moon. We will see them again later, of course, during the second partial phase after totality, when the moon uncovers the sun again. So yes, the moon is moving across the face of the sun. The shadow of the moon is being cast down onto the earth, and today the moon's shadow is covering Australia, it's covering Southeast Asia, and a lot of places are getting a partial solar eclipse today.
That looks like this.
Which looks like this. Exactly right. Now, of course, what we're really interested in today is totality. The moment when the sun is completely covered by the moon. Now, if you see totality, you are in a very special part of the moon's shadow, because the darkest part of the moon's shadow in the very center is called the umbra. If you're standing in the umbral shadow, that is where you see the sun completely blocked out by the moon. Now, this darkest part of the moon's shadow, the umbra, this has touched down on the earth. There is a total eclipse going on right now in the Indian Ocean, and the umbral shadow is moving across the globe at thousands of kilometers an hour or miles per hour, heading towards the Northwest Cape in Australia. It will be arriving there in about 35 minutes from now. So the question, as you say, Anna, is where is the shadow now? Where exactly is the moon's umbral shadow right now? Well, we can go and take a look. We do have a live shadow map which will show us exactly which part of the globe is experiencing a total solar eclipse at the moment. We're going to show you this map. It will show the Indian Ocean. It will show the coast of Australia. There will be shading across the map to show the areas of the globe that are getting a partial eclipse. In the middle of the map, we will see a very narrow strip, the path of totality, the very narrow corridor where the moon will appear to cover the sun completely. And somewhere over the Indian Ocean, we will highlight where totality is happening now. It will be just a very, very tiny dot on the map, because today's the moon's umbral shadow is very small. It's around about 40 kilometers, just about 25 miles across. So it's a very small shadow, as we said, over the Indian Ocean. Well, okay, let's bring up the live map and let's have a look. So there we have the Indian Ocean, and there, about halfway up the screen there, that small red dot, that tiny red dot, that is where totality is happening at the moment. That is the moon's umbra, and it is rushing towards the coast of Australia at thousands of miles per hour.
And there's something really special about this eclipse while I was rushing towards, and I was mentioning it earlier. It's a hybrid eclipse. What is that?
That's right. So the interesting thing about today's eclipse is that when we have these eclipses of the sun, sometimes the moon is slightly closer to Earth and is slightly bigger in the sky, the eclipses of the sun. Sometimes the moon is slightly closer to Earth and is slightly bigger in the sky. Then it can really cover the sun completely, and that gives us a total solar eclipse. At other times, the moon is slightly further away from Earth, and it appears slightly smaller in the sky. For these eclipses, the moon isn't big enough to cover the sun completely, and it gives us an annular eclipse, also called a ring of fire eclipse, because the moon gets silhouetted against the sun and you see just a narrow ring going around the moon. Now, for today's eclipse, the moon is just at almost the halfway point. Today, the moon and the sun are almost exactly the same size in the sky. That's why the moon's umbral shadow is so small today. That's why we only have about 1 minute of totality today. It's a very short totality. And at the we saw that path of totality going across the map from the Indian Ocean, across Australia, across Indonesia, into the North Pacific Ocean. The curious thing about today's eclipse is at the beginning and the end of that path of totality, the curvature of the Earth means that somebody standing at the start or the finish of that path is actually a little bit further away from the sun because of the curvature of the Earth. This means the distance to the sun is slightly greater. The sun appears a little bit smaller. So, very briefly, at the beginning and at the end of the path of totality for today's eclipse, it's not in fact a total eclipse, but very briefly, it is an annular eclipse where the sun actually formed a very narrow ring around the moon. These eclipses, as you say, Anna, called known as a hybrid eclipse, where in one location on the globe you can see an annular eclipse, and in other locations, such as where our telescopes are in Exmouth in Western Australia, it appears as a total solar eclipse.
And you say standing because that's when you're looking up at the eclipse, but nobody will be standing in the Indian or the Pacific Ocean, will they? There will be maybe some lucky marine animals that will see the annular eclipse.
Well, that's right. Yeah, the start and the finish of the path of totality today is far from land, out over the ocean. So no observers actually get to see an annular eclipse today.
Unfortunately. So there you have it. It's a hybrid eclipse, and that's the explanation. So for more details on hybrid eclipses, go to timeanddate.live. We've got explanations about that. We've got other pictures, behind the scenes, all kinds of fun stuff that you can find on Time and Date. So have a look there, and we will be back soon to talk about what to look for. Totality is all happening. It's all happening. I'm excited. So we'll see you back here soon.
So no worries, guys. Basically, we are nearly about half an hour before the totality happens, and one of my favorite thing is that the hybrid eclipse is today, which is 23rd, means 2023, and the next hybrid eclipse will happen at 2031, which will be also visible from India. So I'm very happy for that. That next hybrid eclipse will be also viewable from India, and the next one is after that the eclipse will be also viewable, but basically that is too far. Means the next eclipse after 2031, the next hybrid eclipse will be at 2164. Okay, it's sad. I can't do anything. Zomato is doing it sad. And again we have here Indigo. Yeah. So again we are live. 3 minutes, 3 hours and 3 minutes according to universal coordinated time. So yes, no one is viewing the stream. Okay. But this will be very tight week for me because as I said earlier that I have the launch of means I will be streaming the launch of PSLV C55. So actually I was inserting an ad here because yes. Okay, two are watching. Anyways, mine is hybrid solar eclipse. Anyways, the one who is watching, welcome to our YouTube channel, and you are the lucky one to see the this eclipse. Okay, anyways, we are nearly about 25 minutes before the totality happens. Stay on this live to see the totality from where we will be seeing the hybrid eclipse. Okay, ads are being inserted again. Basically, I want to buy a telescope, but I do not have much money. So, yeah, there were some people from my Discord server who came before, known as Arjun and all that thing. They came, but I don't know why they gone back. But everyone has their own, you can say, uh, field of interest, so they might not be miss liking this eclipse, watching eclipses. Anyways, so we have again the launch of PSLV 55 and Teleos 2 mission on the 22 April, which will be also nice to watch because ISRO's launch cadence, I think it is increasing. It's slowly and steadily increasing. Okay, now we have two concurrent viewers. So the guys who are watching, do like the live stream because I am streaming since from 1 hour, and I'm just waiting for totality to begin. We are nearly about few minutes away from totality. More than half an hour we are before, not more than, below half an hour, nearly about it's 3-8 hours UTC, and at 3:29 UTC the totality will start. So anyways guys, okay, again, okay, let me again explain you some things before again the Annie comes. See, the big image you can see on the screens is from Exmouth, Western Australia, and all the beside images are from also the Western Australia only. The center is the center image is from the Perth Observatory, which is located in Australia, Western Australia. And let me move to the series. Let me move to the explanation. See, basically, let me move to INX series of the eclipses. This eclipse is a part of the long period INX cycle. I am not talking about this eclipse, but I am talking about the INX eclipse. Basically, INX eclipse means what, or INX series of eclipse means what? In this short explanation, I will be going to tell. Basically, the eclipse is a part of long period is known as INX cycle. Means eclipse which has a long period comes under the INX cycle. 171.95 days, or which days. Their appearance and longitude. Okay, we have Anne again.
A particular wavelength. It's in the sort of the red crimson part of the spectrum, which is why it's looking as this very this sort of very reddish color. And this is a wavelength at which the hydrogen atom is very strong. And since the sun is mostly made of hydrogen, this gives us a very, as you say, it's a very interesting look at some of the activity that is going on around the sun. As you say, that lovely prominence there on the left edge of the crescent sun.
So we've got other views as well, and they have different filters, different kinds of telescopes, and that's why they look so different from this hydrogen alpha telescope view. We're about 19 minutes, I think, or less, away from totality, and we want to talk a little bit about what we can see in the sky during totality, because during totality we're going to leave the screen, we're going to leave everybody to enjoy the view on their own without us blabbing here in the corner. So what can we expect from totality?
Yes, so as we move towards totality over the next 15 minutes, that crescent sun will get thinner and thinner. It really is looking like the crescent moon there at the moment. That is still, of course, the sun. This crescent gets thinner and thinner. On the ground in Exmouth, things will start to become darker as more and more of the sun is eaten away, until in the final moments before totality, around the edge of the sun, we start to get our very first view of the solar corona. This is the sun's outer atmosphere. It extends out into space around the sun, and we may start to see its sort of ghostly appearance just before totality begins. The crescent sun gets thinner and thinner. The two horns of the sun get closer and closer until we come to an effect known as the diamond ring. This is where the opposite ends of the opposite horns of the sun meet in a final
a flare.
yeah,
Burst.
right, a final jewel of sunlight. And coupled with the solar corona, which is now starting to appear around the edge of the moon, it really gives the impression of a jewel set in a ring. So it's commonly known as the diamond ring effect. This final bright flare of sunlight, it then starts to break up into small blobs of light known as Bailey's beads, named after the 19th century astronomer Francis Bailey, who was one of the first astronomers to describe this phenomenon. This is where we're looking at the final rays of direct sunlight coming to us through valleys on the edge of the moon's surface. Bailey's beads disappear one by one, and when the last Bailey's beads has disappeared, that is then the beginning of totality. At this time, we might also catch a glimpse of the chromosphere. This is a reddish band around the visible surface of the sun. Again, a lot of these things, they're there all the time, but we only get to see them when the moon is blocking out that bright, visible part of the sun's surface. So we may just see this reddish chromosphere, and then we are into about 1 minute of totality when we're hoping to enjoy a view of the solar corona.
During that totality minute, Matt and Stefan are going to be super busy. They're going to be taking off filters, off their telescopes, and making sure that they're going to catch that really faint solar corona.
That's right, and this is the big challenge with solar eclipses, is that they start with the sun's full disk, the dazzlingly bright sun, and at totality we're going right through to the solar corona, which is just much fainter. It's about the same brightness as a full moon, which interestingly does mean that it doesn't get completely dark on the ground during a total solar eclipse. It gets about as dark as it does on a full moon night. But it is a completely different level of brightness to that of the sun itself. So yes, the challenge is taking off filters, making adjustments, and switching telescopes from the view of the bright sun to the solar corona.
And if you're on the ground there and you're enjoying the solar eclipse, you might notice that the birds are going to go a bit crazy in the sky. They're going to think that it's nighttime. The temperature might be a bit cooler. It all feels very surreal. I remember from my one experience of seeing a solar eclipse, total solar eclipse. I'm going to see many more. So for those on the ground, this is a special moment, but they have to keep those eclipse glasses on.
Right, we talked earlier about the importance of not looking directly at the sun without proper eye protection. Proper eye protection means certified eclipse glasses from a reliable source. This still applies right through the partial stage of the eclipse. It applies right through the diamond ring effect and Baily's beads. This is still part of the partial stage of the eclipse. It is only when the final one of Baily's beads has disappeared, that's when totality starts. That's
when you can take them off.
That's when it's safe to take off the eclipse glasses and enjoy the view of the solar corona, but only very briefly, because totality lasting for, well, at our location just south of Exmouth, it's 1 minute, 3 seconds. In Exmouth itself, it's a little under 1 minute. It's about 58 seconds. Eclipse glasses have to go back on for the end of totality, before we get the same effects happening after totality. We see Baily's bead, we see the diamond ring, we see the crescent sun re-emerging. Eclipse glasses have to go back on before those effects start. So it is only a handful of seconds that we can remove eclipse glasses and enjoy the view of the solar corona.
So stay put if you're not on the ground out having this fabulous experience, and stay put here. We're going to leave you, and so you can enjoy the whole build up to totality and totality itself, and we're going to try to show it from several different angles. So we're excited about that, and stay put because we'll be back after totality is finished, and we've got a lot more of show to go through.
Okay, so we are nearly about 9 minutes away from the totality. As you can see, the 3:29 UTC will see that the totality will start, and nearly about now is 3:20 UTC. So let me give a brief info about the INX series. This eclipse is a part of the long period in INX cycle, repeating at alternating nodes of every 358 synodic months, which is also 10,571.95 days or 29 years minus 20 days. Their appearance and longitude are irregular due to a lack of synchronization with the anomalistic month period of perigee. However, groupings of 3 INX cycles, which is 87 years minus 2 months, comes close. 1151.02 anomalistic months. So eclipses are similar in these groupings. More than we have the examples of some eclipses which are in the INX series, who are the members of INX series, which starts from 1901 till 2100. The first you can say eclipse happened in July 10, 1907, which was Saros 125, and then we faced a new solar eclipse on June 19, 1936 of Saros 126. Then we had on May 30, 1965, which was Saros 125. Then we had May 10, 1994 of Saros 128. Then we had today, which is 20 April 2023, Saros 129. Then we had again a new eclipse upcoming on March 30, 2052, Saros 130. And then again we have on March 10, 2081, Saros 131. Then again we have the Tritios series of eclipses. This eclipse is a part of Tritios cycle, repeating at alternating nodes of every 135 synodic months or 3986.63 days or 11 years minus 1 month. Their appearance and longitude are irregular due to lack of synchronization with anomalistic months. Period of perigee, but groupings of Tritios cycles 33 years minus 3 months come close. 434.044 anomalistic months. So eclipses are similar in these groupings. We are nearly about few minutes back. You can see the UTC is nearly about 322 UTC, hours UTC, and at 3:29 UTC the totality will begin. let me give some brief info about this Tritios series of eclipses. As I said earlier, this series is started, and nearly about, again we have some examples which are starting from 1901 to 2100. Basically, on March 29, 1903, the Saros cycle was 118. On 25th February 1914, again we faced an eclipse known as Saros 119, and again January 24, 1925, Saros 120. Again we had an eclipse of December 25, 1935, Saros 121, and again we have an eclipse on November 23, 1946, Saros 122. Again we have an eclipse on October 23, 1957, Saros 123, and again we faced an eclipse on September 22, 1968, on Saros 124. We faced an again eclipse on August 22, 1979, Saros 125, and again July 22, 1990, Saros 126. Again there was an eclipse on 21 June 2001, Saros 127. Again May 20, 2012, Saros 128. And again the last member of this series in between 1901 to 2100 is April 20, 20 April 20, 2023, Saros 120, which is currently happening. We are nearly about 4 minutes away from the totality, 4 to 5 minutes away from the totality. As you can see, the eclipse have been started nearly about. The crescent moon will also get covered here at Exmouth, Australia, Western Australia, and nearly about, again YouTube is trying to give you can say ad. YouTube is trying to show the ad, but again we can replay it. I will show the replay if ad comes in between. So I am hoping that NA comes faster as the eclipse is moving faster. So again we have a second eclipse on March 20, 2034 at Saros 130. Again we have the February 16, 2045, Saros 131, and next is January 16, 2056 at Saros 132. On December 17, 2066, there is an eclipse with Saros 133. At November 15, 2077, there is an eclipse at Saros 134. On October 14, 2088, there is an eclipse with Saros 135, and I hope this 14 October eclipse will be visible from India. And from again September 14, 2099, there is an eclipse on Saros 136. So these were the few eclipses from the our past cycle, which is also known as our recently, which I said. Okay, let me go back few pages back, which was also known as our Tritios cycle. Anyways, according to UTC, it's 3 hours and 26 minutes, and the eclipse will start at 3 hours and 29 minutes. Soon the eclipse will get started. Fully the moon will cover the sun. We are so closer that the eclipse will start now. The eclipse is moving very closer now, as you can see. We have a very crescent curve here. I'll increase the quality here so we can get a good quality image. Okay, here we have some HD quality images. So as you can see, the central image is from time and date Perth, Australia, from Exmouth, Western Australia, and the image is from Perth Observatory. And here we can see the totality has nearly about begun. Here it is 3:27 hours UTC, and at 3:29 hours UTC the eclipse will begin. Hope the eclipse gets, here we get a nice view of eclipse. I am moving to the best quality, so I can see a best quality of eclipse here. I don't know why it shows here the add 1 of 2, but yes, the live stream is viewable, so forget about that ad. And nearly about the eclipse has begun. Few part of the sun is just remained to get covered. And yes, at Exmouth, Western Australia, you can see at right hand side the total eclipse is viewable. You can see on your screens at right hand side up corner. Yes, few seconds to start the total solar eclipse at West Australia at Exmouth. Yes, slowly and steadily the moon covers the sun in front of you. And yes, it's 3:29 hours IST and the sun is covered whole. Yes, you can see the sun gets covered, and the corona, the corona of sun is also visible, clearly visible. You can see, yes, the corona is visible clearly from MIT NASA Eclipse expedition from Exmouth, Western Australia. The corona, the solar corona is clearly visible here. It's very, you can say, fascinating to see like that in live real time. Here at in India, it's nearly about 9 a.m. and the eclipse is showing its totality. So it's 3:30 and nearly about we have passed the 1 minute. Yes, we are passing the 1 minute, and now the eclipse is ending. Yes, eclipse has ended. The greatest eclipse have ended now. You can see the moon is just clearing the sun again, and the total solar eclipse has been now ended. But few parts of the sun are yet to be removed. You can see the sun is slowly and steadily moving now. So 3:31 hours UTC, the sun is again going back to its original place. So let me intimate the viewers, we have again a lunar eclipse which will be coming on 5 and 6 May 2023, which will be an penumbral lunar eclipse where I will be streaming the live event again. So stay tuned on this channel. And yes, here on the left hand side we have the few coronal effects clearly visible, and slowly and steadily again the moon is uncovering the sun, as you can see. It is very you can say basically it's very nice, you can say unexplainable feeling basically, which I am facing now. Basically it's unexplainable feeling to see such live event happening. And the last hybrid eclipse for this uh, century will be on 2031, which will be passing from India Yes, we are now nearly about 5 minutes away from the totality, and nearly about the totality had ended, but the views of uncovering the sun is really astonishing and awesome images. Yes, the moon is quite interestingly uncovering the sun, and let's move on. Whether I have some chats or not yet, but okay. Yes, Exmouth, Western Australia, live images from, and footage by Perth, Australia, the center footage. Yes, you can see on your screens a clear view of the eclipse. Let me also tell the viewers that the eclipse is only means the only total part of the eclipse will be visible, yet this is an annular means it's an hybrid solar eclipse. This is a hybrid solar eclipse basically. In hybrid solar eclipse, the annular and total both parts of the eclipse are visible, but from the earth means from the visible points of earth, the only total part of eclipse will be visible, as the earlier Graham Jones have told us. And yes, NASA is also streaming the time and date video, as I can see here. Footage by Perth, Australia, Perth Observatory, Australia. The this eclipse is happening now in Western Australia, as you can see. And yes, now on the NASA's channel it is also as you can say viewable, and on my channel too. So yes, okay, few part of the sun is been uncovered by our moon. As you can see, few part of the sun is has been get uncovered. And now let's move on to our some details, as I was talking earlier. So so next series is Metonic series. The Metonic series repeats eclipses every 19 years, which is also known as 6939.69 days, lasting about 5 cycles. Eclipses occur in every the same calendar date. In addition, the Octonius series repeats 1/5 of that for every 3.8 years, which is also known as 1387.94 days. All eclipses in this table occur at ascending mode, moon's ascending node. If we look, 21 eclipse events progressing from south to north between July 1, 2000 and to July 1, 2076. On July 1, we faced an eclipse on 2000 on July 1, and then from April 19, 2004, we faced next eclipses. On February 7, 2008, next eclipse again on November 25, 2011, on September 13, 2015, on again July 2, 2019, on again 20 April 2023, which is happening currently at 129 Saros, on February 6, 2027, on November 25, 2030, on September 12, 2034, on July 2, 2038, on April 20, 2042, on February 5, 2046, and November 25, 2049, and April 12, 2035, and so on goes. So nearly about this was the end of series. As you can see, all series are been ended, and the moon is also uncovering the sun slowly and steadily, as you can see. Okay, I am actually watching the live. Okay, so Exmouth, Western Australia is currently facing the total solar eclipse 0. Okay.
Wow, that was a total solar eclipse, and it went about. We're still doing it. It's still a total solar eclipse. Totality went fast. Uh, yeah.
That is always the thing with total solar eclipses. Even when totality lasts for 4 or 5 minutes, it always goes by in a flash. It never feels long enough. And today's totality was just a mere minute. And yes, as you say, boy, that went fast.
And you could see Matt and Stefan struggling with their filters there and getting them on, getting off camera, kind of the telescope view kind of drifting out. Like it's just, yeah, it was. I can imagine them being quite relieved that they can relax again.
That's right. As you said earlier, Anna, astronomy is normally a very slow business, and things always happen very slowly. The one exception is solar eclipses and totality, when it is an action-packed couple of minutes. So yes, lots to do there with filters, with readjusting telescopes and cameras, and yes, the most active couple of minutes that astronomers can ever deal with.
Yeah, and we did see some features in there, didn't we, Graham?
We did, and we are going to be, later on, we are going to be sharing a replay of totality. So yes, we saw Diamond Ring, Bailey's Beads, we saw some really nice features around totality. We saw the corona, we saw beautiful prominence extending. Well, we can see the prominence there very clearly on our main screen. There, we also saw that prominence during totality. extending up into the corona. So yes, we have a replay that we will be sharing, and lots to talk about there.
We do, and we're also going to be talking to Stefan, and he can explain. He's probably still out of breath, so we'll see how that goes. And we are also going to talk to NASA expert Dr. Kelly Correct. She's a solar scientist, so we've got a lot of interesting stuff still coming up in the show, and the eclipse isn't over. We're still looking at it. So we'll see you back here very soon.
एक
watching a total solar eclipse here on Time and Date, and we've just had totality. I say just, it's 20 minutes ago, but we're working crazily in the background here. We've got a hold of Stefan Thorsen, our chief eclipse chaser here at Time and Date, and he's on the ground in Exmouth, Western Australia. So let's see if we can get him off if his mobile phone isn't too choppy.
Hello.
There he is. Hi, Stefan. How was it? What was totality like for you?
I got on kind of saying to everyone that they should look at the event and not look at the cameras, that kind of thing. And I didn't get so much time to actually watch it myself. So I was watching everything else, but I got like two times 5 seconds, which I kind of looked for the things I knew I was looking for. So it was a great experience. And of course it got dark, and there's also a lot of things happening the 5-10 minutes before, and especially the last few minutes are kind of exciting when it kind of gets really dark or very close to dark. So yeah, so it's an amazing event. Everyone was kind of happy because we had kind of some bit of windy early morning, and there was quite a bit of cloud this morning as well. So it's a bit like we hope to just get away, and it's super clear and nice at the moment.
And did the temperature cool down? Did you feel like it got a bit cooler?
Yeah, I had on my list to bring a temperature to measure temperature, but I forgot that part. So but it definitely got cooler. But still in the t-shirt. That's fine. But it definitely got cooler. Yeah. But especially not necessarily the eclipse itself, but the 10 minutes, 20 minutes before, and still it's kind of a bit cooler.
Huh. And how was the hectic experience with the telescopes?
There's always this filters off. You take the filters off about 20 seconds before, but then one of the telescopes got a bit moved, so it kind of lost a bit of the sides. Then it's quickly get it back again. So that adds a bit to the kind of hectic environment, because it's but it's kind of that minute just like felt like 10 seconds. It just went so quickly.
Yes, and Stefan, we know that you're all still busy there, because we still have this partial eclipse to go. We've been having a couple of questions in from viewers to this show, asking about the different suns that we're looking at. The main image that we're looking on our screen at the moment, this is a very overexposed sun. This is a deliberate thing to bring out the prominences.
Yes, so you can either kind of get the surface fine or the prominences. It's a bit hard to get them both. Sometimes prominences are super strong, so you can get them both, but in order to get a bit more prominences, you overexpose the surface, and then you get it like this. So it's kind of interesting look, and this is also what you saw during totality with your naked eye. Some of this just as the most visible part of it. With the bright eye, you so much more, obviously, during the totality.
Right, indeed, yes. And in fact, you're saying that it was interesting to look at the difference. Actually, in that small telescope feed in the top right corner, which is where the exposure is a lot less, we can't see the prominences, but we are now just seeing that sunspot
it's coming back,
reappear. We lost it during the first partial phase, but there it is. It's just being uncovered. So yes, we can either enjoy the sunspots in the one feed, prominences in the other feed.
Yes, we can. And thank you, Stefan, for doing such a great job. And thank you to Matt too. I'm sure he's busy behind the scenes. And if people stay tuned, we will hopefully have a replay of totality. We're working hard behind the scenes to get this done, and we're looking at an interview with Kelly Couric. She's a solar specialist at NASA, so be sure to have a look at Time Date Live as well. We've got loads of stuff going on there, so We will be back very soon.
Way too much deal.
Want it? Swiggy it. Get 50% off and free delivery on your first order.
क्या आप भी स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं पर अकाउंट ओपनिंग चार्ज, एनुअल मेंटेनेंस चार्ज, हाई ब्रोकरेज? अब क्या करें? डोंट वरी, डाउनलोड ग्रो। अब ये फ्री भी है, बिना किसी एनुअल चार्ज के और लो ब्रोकरेज। अब देर किस बात की? डाउनलोड ग्रो एंड स्टार्ट इन्वेस्टिंग।
Investment in security markets are subject to market risk. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
Welcome back to Time and Date. We have been watching a total solar eclipse live from Western Australia. We are into the second partial phase. The moon is slowly moving off the face of the sun, and this eclipse has about another 50 minutes or so to run. Now, for the past few eclipses, Time and Date has been delighted to be collaborating with NASA on their Eclipse live shows, and they've been using our images and telescope feeds as part of their programming. For this eclipse, they had a live show featuring the sun expert Dr. Kelly Korek, and we are delighted to say that just having finished her show with NASA, Kelly is now going to be joining us here on Time and Date.
Hi, Graham.
There we go. Excellent, great, and hey, thank you very much for joining us, Kelly. So Kelly is a heliophysicist, and she is NASA's program manager for eclipses. Mm-hmm. I think, Kelly, the first question we need to ask is what is a heliophysicist?
Yeah, thanks, Graham. Yes, a heliophysicist is a physicist that studies helio, or the sun. We study all of the effects of the sun on the Earth, as well as all of the things that that our sun does. So things like the solar flares, and prominences, and these eclipses, as well as things on Earth, and the magnetosphere, and the ionosphere, and our atmosphere. Those are all things that heliophysicists study.
And this is kind of a big year for heliophysics.
It is a very big year. So we are all about to have a very big year from 2023. We're going to start just around October, around the annular eclipse, and run through the total solar eclipse that happens April 8th, 2024, and then through December 2024, when Parker Solar Probe makes its closest approach to the sun. It gets 96% of the way to the sun from the Earth. So this big year is actually a concept that comes from citizen science birding. And their big year means that I want to see as many species as birds in that 1 year to have a big year. And so for us, we're challenging folks to have as many different sun experiences as you can in that 1 year. So the annular eclipse, a total eclipse, could you see aurora? What about learning about solar flares? What about learning about the effect of sun on your emotion, or how you use it in growing crops and food? So we really want everyone to have a big year with the sun from 23 to 24.
That's cool.
And you've just finished, you're all warmed up here, I can tell, because you've just finished your live show with NASA. How did it go?
Oh, the live show was incredible. There was great banter and amazing questions from the audience and audience participation. And of course, the star of the show, our sun, and the total eclipse and the Time and Date feed was just amazing to sit there and watch the prominence develop, and then all of a sudden to see totality, and it was amazing.
That's nice to hear. We've worked hard for those images. And what was your favorite question? What was one of the exciting questions that you got?
So I think one of my favorite questions was something that I just hadn't thought about, is how common are lunar eclipses more common than solar eclipses? And, I hadn't thought about it, but it was great to also be able to then have a phone a friend. We had some other colleagues in the background, making sure that we could have some fact checks there, because my sense was that, it does seem like there was more, lunar eclipses, or you hear about more people being able to see them. And they were able to get some information about the fact that yes, actually, there's more likelihood to see it because a larger swath of the Earth can see a lunar eclipse, but they actually happen just about the same amount as a solar eclipse, and normally happen in pairs, about either 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after a solar eclipse. So it was just a very interesting question to also test my sensibilities of like, oh, how do I figure this out? And sometimes even a scientist needs to phone a friend to be like, hey, you know the answer.
Oh, this is true.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, well, we've been enjoying some great images today. We've had sunspots, prominences, the corona. I mean, so much to see. Was there a particular highlight for you today, Kelly?
Definitely. I think there was that little prominence in the lower left-hand corner of the feed, that stuck out early, as the moon made contact, and was there the entire time. And then once you got to totality, you kind of saw all the things that were around it. That it was sticking out there, but there were so many other things around it that were also dancing and moving, and all this plasma and gas is constantly moving on the sun. And to see that was just was my favorite part. It was the part I was rooting for.
Yeah, we were enjoying that bit too. At one point, it looked like it was just flying in thin air, that prominence on the feed.
Definitely.
And yeah, you were mentioning 2023, 2024, big year for the sun. We've got two massive eclipses coming up. There's an annular solar eclipse going across the US in October, and then another one in less than a year from now, in April, a total solar eclipse there going across the US. So what are NASA's plans for these eclipses?
NASA has a lot of plans for both eclipses, and priority is job one is our number one priority. So safety is our number one priority. And our what our main message is about having the safe viewing ability. So you need glasses for the entire time for the solar eclipse, or an indirect viewing method, meaning your back is to the sun and you're looking at either a colander or a pinhole or a cereal box. There's a lot of different ways to make some pinholes, in order to view it indirectly. So for the annular safety at all times. And then during the total, we want you to keep your glasses on except for totality. And then we want you to experience that corona, that amazing time, especially as we get to solar maximum. There was so much activity and so many different things that popped up as we got to totality, and it should be even more active in the next year. So it'll be really interesting to see that. Other priorities that NASA has is really broadening participation, is that letting everyone know that they belong here, belong to learning about the sun, belonging in science, belonging to these amazing experiences. And you don't have to be a full-fledged PhD scientist to appreciate this and to really belong in it. So we really want to broaden that participation. We will be doing a lot of science here too. There was a kite experiment that was flown in Australia, that we're anxiously looking for the data from, and we're hoping to do other science experiments in 23 and 24, like launching a rocket to test the ionosphere, a layer of the atmosphere of the Earth, and how it reacts to eclipses. So we're going to send off a couple of those 3 rockets into each eclipse to study that.
Wow.
So lots of science, lots of fun and interesting things. We're also engaging the public in terms of places to view and educational outreach activities. There are things like ballooning events, citizen science projects folks can get involved in, like Eclipse soundscapes. There's a lot of different things that NASA's planning for these 2 eclipses.
Oh, it all sounds really exciting. I want to be a part of one of these experiences. Well, we're going to be in the US for it, so maybe we can catch up. Thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us here on the show. It's been a pleasure having you, and you get to go to bed now.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And we're already deep into planning for our annular solar eclipse in October, we are going to Roswell, New Mexico to be live streaming that. And for that one, we're going to be on the ground. So we're excited about that, aren't we, Graham? Go to timeanddate.live. There's loads more info there about this eclipse, other eclipses, behind the scenes, all the fun stuff happening on social media. So go there and check it out. But we still have a little bit of eclipse left. So we're going to be here for a while more. And we'll see you soon. Welcome back. I'm Anna Buckle. This is Graham Jones. We're still watching the total solar eclipse, but we're inching towards the end of it. The moon's disk is moving off the surface of the sun, and we have a replay. We're very excited about this. It's the MIT NASA Eclipse Expeditions feed that we're just going to show you from start to finish, and we will talk you through it. So, okay, Gustav, you can start it now so we can see what it looks like. Oh, and there you have it. That's already there, the diamond ring effect, right?
Yeah, so this is as now we're just moments away from totality here. The filter has come off the telescope, so the bit of the crescent sun that is still visible is super bright there. We're starting to see the solar corona around the edge of the moon, and this is heading towards the diamond ring effect. We've sort of got this ring around the moon of the solar corona, and that final bit of the visible sun is shining like a jewel. We move swiftly from the diamond ring into Bailey's beads. That bright jewel starts to break up into blobs, and as the final one of those blobs disappears, this is now the start of totality. Now the full splendor of the solar corona comes into view. We can still see those wonderful prominences in the sort of the top right edge of the sun, and this is 1 minute of totality.
And it looks pretty amazing. And when we were in Argentina, the corona looked a bit more stretched out like wings, but this one's a bit rounder, wasn't it?
Right, the shape of the solar corona does change over the course of an 11-year solar cycle. The totality we saw in 2019 in Argentina was near solar minimum, and the solar corona was rather stretched out like wings. Today, it's a lot more symmetrical. It's a lot rounder. That's our minute done. We are coming back to Bailey's beads. These blobs of light appearing in that bottom right corner, and they're now merging together to again form this jewel of light, the diamond ring with the solar corona around the edge of the moon there. Now the bright crescent sun comes back. Solar corona disappears. That's the last time we'll see the solar corona from Earth until the next total solar eclipse.
April 8th, 2024.
April the 8th next year. That's correct. So that was the very brief 1 minute of totality of this April 20th, 2023 total solar eclipse.
Because next year it's going to be much longer, the totality, right?
That's right. So next year we're up to over 4 minutes of totality. That's one of the reasons for that is that the moon is closer to the Earth, bigger in the sky, and can cover the sun for longer.
There you go. And we've moved into this zoomed in image of the sun. We've got some sunspots, we've got some prominences, so we're really getting to study them here.
That's right. This is a great shot here, showing a partially eclipsed sun with those sunspot features in the center, and some nice prominences around the edge of the sun's disk.
And Pac-Man eating us in the corner there.
Exactly.
And that's it from us for now. We will be back very soon. Check out timeanddate.live for more information about eclipses and about this eclipse and other interesting pictures behind the scenes, all the fun stuff you can find there. And we will see you soon. So we're still watching a total solar eclipse here on Time and Date. We've seen totality in Australia. We've watched a beautiful replay of that and seeing what was happened during totality. But in southwest Papua in Indonesia, it's all about to happen.
That's right. The main image on our feed right now is coming from the city of Sorong in the province of southwest Papua in Indonesia. These images are coming to us from the BMKG. That is the Indonesian Agency for Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics. Yes, today the city of Sorong is getting a 90% partial eclipse, and we are at about eclipse maximum now. Anna, we looked earlier at our live eclipse shadow map. We looked at the location of the moon's umbral shadow, the darkest part of the moon's shadow, where if you're in the umbra, you can see the moon completely cover the sun and cause a total solar eclipse. Today, the moon's umbral shadow is incredibly small, only about 40 kilometers or 25 miles across. When we last checked in on our live map, the moon's umbra was over the Indian Ocean and rushing towards the coast of Australia at thousands of kilometers per hour. Well, it is now passed over the Northwest Cape very briefly in about 1 minute. That was the wonderful 1 minute of totality that we saw in Exmouth. It then continued northwards and eastwards. It crossed over the country of Timor-Leste and now heading across Indonesia. And I think we can go and have a look and see where it is. So
let's bring out the map again.
So here it is. Yeah, so again, the shaded areas are indicating where there is a partial eclipse, and that very, very tiny red dot in the middle, that is the moon's umbral shadow. That is where a total eclipse is happening right now. So it's passed across the province of West Papua, and it is now heading out into the Pacific, where it will be then taking off and leaving the Earth's surface, not to hit the Earth again for about another year until the next total solar eclipse in April next year.
Yep. So we're kind of running towards the end of the show here, really, because everybody's getting to see the partial and total eclipses, but it's not completely over. Almost over. We will be back soon. Check timeanddate.live and go and hit subscribe on YouTube, and we will see you back here again for one final time before we say goodbye. So see you soon. we're at the end of a total solar eclipse here, brought to you by timeanddate.com. That's us, Anna Buckle and Graham Jones. And yeah, we're just looking at that final bit of the moon leaving the sun's surface there, Graham, and we're just hoping to just, yeah, this is called fourth contact.
This is fourth contact. Yes,
Yeah.
this is the moment when the moon leaves the disk of the sun, and once again we are back to that full disk of the sun, which we haven't seen there in Exmouth for the last 3 hours, because that's how long this eclipse lasted there on the Northwest Cape.
And we've got this image overexposed to show those prominences. They're kind of hiding a little bit back there down in the left-hand corner. And we're hoping maybe there's a prominence around exactly where the moon leaves the sun's surface fairly soon. Oh, almost, right, Graham?
Almost there, yes. We can see that there is still just the tiniest nick in that edge of the sun. But I think now there, yes, the moon has now moved off the surface, and we are back now to that bright solar disk.
Very bright at the moment, being overexposed to show us those prominences. So,
exactly, yes.
Yeah. So this eclipse is unfortunately coming to an end, and we have a lot of people we want to thank, and this is where I have to look at my list. Thank you again to Matt Woods and Stefan Torsen and the whole team from Perth Observatory at the Mobile Observatory in Exmouth, Western Australia. We're hugely grateful to the support from Penny Griffin and the team at Western Australia Government. They've been really working hard behind the scenes leading up to this eclipse, making sure that we had everything we needed on site. Luke Perot and the team at Telstra has helped us have enough stable bandwidth to send this eclipse across the globe. We've got MIT NASA Eclipse Expedition, Michael Person, Theo Boris and Milo Dantowitz. They've been streaming this eclipse from the Manta Rays Ningaloo Beach Resort in Exmouth. Tata Mifta Fazaya, I was going to say it wrong, Fazaya, and the team at BMKG in Indonesia. That's the weather team there. Need to mention all the all-nighters here in Stavanger HQ Time and Date. We've got Gustav, Andy, Jason, Aparna, Ada, Kobe, Constantine, Matthew, Ina Maria, Adalbert, David, and Anya, who have been working really hard behind the scenes to make sure that everybody's got snacks and everybody's got images and everybody's happy during this all-nighter that we've been having here at Time and Date. But it's not completely over, is it?
No, so the eclipse has now finished in Exmouth, Western Australia, but there is always another eclipse. We have 2 more live streams coming up this year on Time and Date, and we have another big live stream coming up 12 months from now. So we can have a quick look ahead at the eclipses that are coming up. So let's take a look at the calendar of forthcoming live eclipses on Time and Date. So October the 14th, an annular solar eclipse across North America and South America. This is where the sun forms a ring of fire around the moon. We are going to be on the ground in Roswell, New Mexico, for a live stream of this eclipse. 2 weeks later, we have a partial lunar eclipse across Europe, Africa, and Asia. And again, we will have live telescope images of that on Time and Date. And then just under 12 months from now, the next total solar eclipse. The path of totality runs across Mexico, the United States, and Canada. And again, we will be on the ground in North America for live images of this eclipse. So that's it for today from Western Australia, but we will be back with our next eclipse live stream, seeing you from, we'll be back in 6 months from the city of Roswell, New Mexico, for the annular solar eclipse, October 14th.
Pretty excited about that one, I have to say. So we're going to leave you now to enjoy the sun and look at those beautiful prominences happening there, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to timeanddate.live. We've got loads of resources there. We've got our night sky map, planet pages, eclipse animations, articles, all kinds of resources there that you can go and play with until we see you in 6 months. So bye-bye. time and date, we look up into the sky. We bring you exclusive footage from eclipses worldwide. We take our mobile observatory to where the action happens. Hi, Stefan.
Hi, Anna.
We collaborate with experts and observatories across the globe to bring you the best view of celestial events.
And we ordered the Devil's Horn just for you.
Now, we have to say thank you very much for your images tonight.
We explain how and show why it all happens while answering your questions during our live broadcast events.
That is a meteor.
Find your home and even more details on time and day. And subscribe to join us next time.